I have just got back from the most awe-inspiring trip, visiting Shetland for the very first time, and I have recorded the entire process so that I can take you with me in this video on this adventure exploring Shetland. If we've not met before, my name is Orla Stevens and I am an artist and an illustrator. I make work inspired by all things nature and landscape, so you can imagine that this trip to Shetland was a bit of a dream come true. This was truly an adventure. We were met with all types of weathers and we never knew what was going to come next. We met with locals, we sketched in hailstorms, and our car even broke down. It was also just an adventure being this far north. In case you haven't visited Shetland, you can find it 60 degrees north, which is just further north than Montreal and Oslo. There's a little bit of everything in this video, sharing footage of the landscapes, exhibitions, a museum, coastal walking paths, our travels across Shetland, and some pretty amazing sunsets too. As I share this trip with you, I thought it would also be really fun to have a little bit of a chat, some of the thoughts and reflections I've had since this research trip on the importance of travel, of refilling our inspiration, and perhaps my most important takeaway from this week, to pause on the outputting, the creation, and to make more time for inspiration and letting ideas and energy back in. We are beginning our trip in the city of Aberdeen, hopping on the 7 p.m. sailing from Aberdeen through the night up to Lerwick.
Yeah, that's brightened it up a lot. I wanted the darkness camera.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's a foot passenger walkway, now in a position for all foot passengers to disembark. And with any remaining vehicle drivers, please report to the car deck.
I was travelling to Shetland with my friend Catherine Wren. Catherine is a musician and a keen cyclist and would be my tour guide for the week too, sharing some of her favourite places with me. We were both heading up to explore some of Shetland together, Catherine gathering sound and field recordings for her music, and me sketches, videos and photos. We arrived into Lerwick around 7 a.m. after a little bit of a washing machine-like rocky crossing. The sea got fun around 4 a.m, but it never got too wild. It felt a little bit like cheating the system actually, or maybe time travel to wake up somewhere having journeyed in my sleep. I'm a big fan of an overnight ferry. This first day after a lift from a lovely lady called Christine, we based ourselves around the village of Hamnavoe, where we'd be staying for our trip. We walked out to the lighthouse and looped around to the neighbouring beach. If I'm honest, I could have spent the entire week just in Hamnavoe, and I'd actually really love to do this in the future, just to paint the houses, the harbour, the lighthouse. I haven't taken an art research trip this far away in a long time. This year has been spent finding inspiration on my doorstep in unexpected and simple places. So, needless to say, travel really isn't necessary as part of finding inspiration for art making, and I've made a whole host of videos on my channel sharing how I find inspiration in the little moments close to home. I've popped some links to those down below if you would like to check them out. The colours in my footage can never do the real ones in the landscape justice. The sea and the brush were much brighter turquoise and amber and green than my camera can pick up. And this is one of the reasons that I love sketching or painting so much. You can make little notes of these things and amplify them to the level that you feel them or remember them, which in my mind is usually much brighter. Back at our home for the week, I got stuck into a little bit of abstract painting in my sketchbooks. Like I'd said earlier about remembering colours and textures, I wanted to take a note while this was still fresh in my mind. It was also a little bit of process practice for my art club. This month we're exploring glazes in our Zoom workshops, building rich colour and textures in layers with mixed media. I was due to be running one of our art club workshops the following evening actually, and little did I know it right now, but the storm was going to blow in, cutting our Wi-Fi for the next few days and postponing the following evening's class. An unintentional online detox of sorts, which, bar missing my teaching, helped to really slow down in the evenings and just be here. If you'd like to have a play with glazes yourself in your own mixed media artwork, you can watch back the workshop recording at any time. It's available for Studio Play tier members over on my Patreon, the Outdoor Sketchbook Collective. I wanted to briefly interrupt my own vlog to let you know about another adventure that I have been on this year in my art. So this year, my creativity has all been inspired by small, everyday moments of beauty and wonder that often go unnoticed. This theme grew and grew into a solo exhibition called The Joy of Noticing, and the work from that exhibition has now been compiled into a 2026 calendar. I wanted to let you know that it's now available on my website at orlastevens.com, and I could not be happier with the quality of this calendar. The artworks themselves look so close to the originals. You can see all of the textures and the colours and the vibrancy. There are also hand-lettered months and different colour coordinations going on in each grid for each month to give you a little bit of a colour variety using my favourite colour palette. If you would like to pick up a calendar with guaranteed Christmas delivery, then you can order by the 12th of December if you're in the UK and the 27th of November if you are anywhere else outside of the UK. It is now the following day. We were up and out early to pick up our hire car to have more of a run around the mainland. With the storm mostly blowing through, we headed west to Sandness for a coastal walk.
Wow. Look at that dark strip down the middle. I know.
En route, we hopped out of the car for some quick sketching stops, but mostly kept to really fast car drawings as Catherine drove us through to stay warm.
I mean, maybe they'll.
We saw some beautiful seabirds on our walk. I can only imagine how incredible it is here for wildlife in the summer when the birds are back from the sea. I've had Angela Harding's wildlife illustrations in my mind as I walked around this coastal path and made friends with some seals. This trip to Shetland really felt like being inside one of her illustrations. Believe it or not, but Catherine isn't trying to catch a fish here. Well, I suppose you could say that she's fishing for sounds. The blue cord dangling in the sea is a hydrophone, which captures noises underwater. I could have sat watching these birds dive into the sea for hours, I think. And that really went for the whole trip. I just wanted to sit and watch. I spent so much of this week just looking, soaking it all in like a sponge, capturing videos, doing a little sketching, but really giving myself the time to just be in this new place. I think I'm realising how essential this time just being, familiarising, looking and connecting is with a new place. I definitely felt frustrated at times, not painting as much as I'd hoped, or like I should be creating more while on this trip. But in the end, it really was a trade-off. Either see as much of Shetland as possible, gather research and really let the place sink in, getting this overview, or focus on just one location like Hamnavoe and paint it. So I'm just going to have to come back. That has been really good learning though, to manage my own expectations for whatever trip I take next, and be more mindful if I am going to gather or if I'm going to respond more fully. I did spend my last day painting on location and that felt really good. So stay tuned towards the end of this video to see the work that I made outside. I am really happy with the paintings.
You came up, you planted, you jumped over the creek. You're able and focused. Whatever has your mind gets sharpened.
As would be true for all of our trip, we would get loads of different weathers in each day. Strong winds, really sharp hailstones, rain, and some of the most amazing sun and dancing clouds. Safe to say, we got a battering of hailstones as we headed back to the car. Our last stop before darkness was St Ninian's Isle, where we walked along the natural sand causeway with sea lapping either side.
At the wheel keeps on turning, but you stood up.
Okay, so these last 3 days were my favourites of this trip. So if you are still watching this far, you are in for a treat. Day 3 had us up at 6 a.m, driving to catch 2 ferries that would take us first over to Yell and then to Unst. I know I'll be thinking about this trip for a long time. driving north as the sun rose to the most spectacular pink skies. The light on this day was just unparalleled, and it had lit up the snow that had fallen the night before.
It's almost like snow clouds. I know, yeah, they probably are.
We'd travelled to Unst to walk through Hermaness, a nature reserve that teems with birds come the summertime. However, in November we had the place more or less to ourselves, just us and the sheep, as we wandered along the boardwalk and round the coast. Whilst travel definitely isn't essential for inspiring art, I think what it can do is to pull you out of daily routines and shake you up a bit when you find yourself in a rut. There is nothing better than stepping away from the usual deadlines and obligations and indulging in some exploration for a wee pocket of time. For me, it's relatively slow travel that I find the most inspiring. In the grand scheme of the world, Shetland isn't a big place, but I think I could easily spend a lifetime finding inspiration here. Shifting up speeds from walking to driving was also brilliant on this trip for seeing different types of things. Walking for, of course, seeing the details, things up close, and driving for getting a rougher sense of the space, the repeating elements of shapes, sloping hills, reflections, and shifting clouds.
Yeah, I think so. That is a whale.
That's a shark. I awoke to a still day of birdsong and pink skies, which was a beautiful send-off to mark my last day on Shetland. I made sure to be up and out of the door as soon as that sun was coming up, so that I could make the most of my time here. I was out sketching by around 8 in the morning as the sun was rising, sketching and painting in and around Hamnavoe, capturing some of the gorgeous houses and the surrounding coastlines. I don't know if it's because I am getting closer to 30 or what it is really, but I've been thinking a lot more about the notion of home and how we make homes, how people live, and this kind of interaction between daily human life and the landscapes that we inhabit. I've been so much more drawn to capturing these kind of everyday mundane moments of life. And when you travel to new places, different landscapes, and therefore different lifestyles, the little everyday moments like the way people store their rubbish bins, the way there are lobster pots scattered all around the place, the way that certain plants grow differently to shelter the houses here, all of these little details I was really drawn to capturing in my sketchbooks. I decided that I would spend the remainder of my time in Shetland, in Lerwick, to paint on location some of the beautiful buildings I had walked past, and most importantly, to get all of my materials out and to sit in one spot for a few hours and paint. As you can imagine, I had all of my thermals on, several jumpers, gloves to the side to quickly dive my hands back into when they needed warming up. To begin my on-location painting session, I decided to warm up with a really quick pencil sketch. This was really to get the sense of space into my hands and to start to understand where things were that I could see and bring that into the page. I never really like to do an under sketch for my paintings because that makes me tense up a bit. But having this warm-up sketch on a separate page and then diving into the painting helped me get a sense of space and scale. If you've been on my YouTube channel before, you'll know that my work is all about colour, all about texture, and combining lots of mixed media together. And that is exactly what I got up to in these on-location paintings. After thoroughly transforming into an ice block, I decided that it was time to jump into the wonderful Peary shop and also have a little wander up the high street before squeezing one more painting into this trip. We hadn't planned to finish our visit to Shetland on such a beautiful note, but we had just enough time to visit Flight, a solo exhibition by Paul Bloomer. It was a 25-year retrospective of his career, spanning works of birds, Shetland landscapes, his experience and spiritual connections to this beautiful place. And the colours absolutely blew us away. The exhibition was in Shetland Museum and Archives, and what a space to host this beautiful artwork. You really needed that distance to appreciate and almost step into his paintings, which are pretty large scale and just flooded with the most beautiful colours. Whilst the colour of his paintings did knock my socks off, it was the black and white sketches in the centre of the exhibition, getting that insight into a process and such an ongoing project dedicated to the same paper size, the same media, the same black and white focus that I found so inspiring. I might even go home and start a black and white bird study project of my own, directly inspired by the format of his works on paper. After a flying visit around the museum and archives, it was time to hop on the overnight ferry and back to Aberdeen. I think that is a good place to bring this vlog to a close. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my wonderful Patreon community for making this YouTube channel and supporting the creation of this very video. If you'd like to see more of what I get up to in response to this Shetland trip, I create a studio diary every month to share the inner workings of my practice, the behind the scenes, the work that I don't share anywhere else, that all goes into the process of creating artwork. You can find my studio share diaries over on my Patreon page, available to studio guide tiers and up. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to my patrons, and I will see you outside.